Okay, so we have a reading. Now this one is definitely in part my and my son's situation, but this is a collective message slash reading. I believe the title says, so what is the TI supposed to do? TI is standing for a targeted individual. What is the TI supposed to do when? Okay, so before I got some of the reading is basically already done. That's given the heart of the message, that things that has happened to the TI, the energies that have been involved, with basically strolling around their life no matter where they land, and dealing with these various individuals, companies, businesses, in some cases just individuals, anybody, family, anybody that the TI communes with, that they ever seek out, whether that is, like I said, official businesses, different things like that. So we got a layout. There's cult members that's on the table here. We had cult members, we got family, we got trolls, we got narcissists, and we got how some of these people are religious. And we'll get into all of that because the cards kind of, speaks of what's the real energy behind what they appear. Okay. But before we get into that side of it, this is what I'm going to say for any of you who might, because again, the TI starts to realize, whether the rest of the world has caught up to it or not, that all you got money, honey, and connects in certain places, you can make virtually anything happen, including tampering with technology, which means tampering with visibility. Who sees the videos and who doesn't see the videos? Okay, so I want to say, for the record, for me, I have reached out. Okay, so I'm going to say that for the record. I don't know how far these videos are getting to go, but I've reached out to family. I've reached out to extended. I've reached out to folks that, I wasn't sure about their involvement in some of the toxicity that has been being done. So I've attempted to reach out to several family members, stepfathers, past stepfathers. Okay. Um, I've reached out via, like everybody else. If you lose numbers, I've reached out via social media. Oh, shit. I've reached out. Hold on, y'all. The wind is kicking in. I reached out via social media. We're going to get into the rest here. It's probably the cult member, too. One of them, anyway. But as I was saying, yeah, it may be one of these, because the card says folks talk religion and spirituality, but they're toxic as fuck. Okay. We'll get into that in a minute. We'll get into it. They talk religion and spirituality, but they're toxic as fuck. Because again, we're talking about behavior here. We have to learn how to separate what we're checking off as belief and then how we're acting and the things that we're doing. Okay? Because it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if we're crossing lines, boundaries, someone else's free will, projecting, doing those things, then we might be toxic. Anyway, and I'm not claiming everybody is doing that. I'm saying for those who are, and essentially that whatever the target, my son and myself and those that this reading is for, that's what we have dealt with. These are some of the things we've dealt with. Okay. So what is the target? What is the target? Hold on. I got a couple of devices here. Okay. What is the target to do when their attempts to reach out are being thwarted? Because again, some of the common questions that they face out here when they've been displaced or when all these things are happening is reaching out to family. I have several times. Those that I gave benefit of the doubt to, that I didn't know for sure, okay, whether or not they were deeply involved or ingrained in the stuff that has been being done to me and my son, and to no avail. Okay, I've reached out, social media, the numbers that I had, because some, time goes by. So some of the numbers I got, you know, they're no longer. So I've done those things, and as is has the rest of the collective. And this is going to lead to what we're saying about how this is manufactured to stop us from receiving the kind of support that we want and the kind that's honoring to us, and to force us in situations where they get to infiltrate their people and do all sorts of things and put us in predicaments that, I want to say coercively, by way of tampering with our efforts. Okay, because everybody's not toxic, but the problem is that we are our efforts with connecting are being thwarted. And when they're not being thwarted in a sense of interference with the connection, then we have powers that be that are creating, basically, like I said, lying, going around in the America's lying, just lying. Lying to organizations, business, lying to all these people. I'm going to give you case in point. My son and I, okay, it was not even a full day. We left a hotel room after we ran out of funding for one day. Okay? One day. It wasn't even a full day. I just didn't have any other money. Okay, I'm going to give you the backdrop. So I took what I had left, got to the Redlands Public Library, as you all may see that video, and they made a public spectacle out of that whole thing, as if I'm some mental ill person roaming the streets. Like they really manipulated that situation as I predicted they would. Okay? They manipulated that situation to spin the narrative, because there are wonders, there are people out there that, and it's still a judgment on them. We don't know these people's story. We don't know who done been doing what, and we don't know. But it hadn't even been a full day. So it was, see what I'm saying? Me and my son show up at the library so I can do some research so that I get the forms for the complaints that I am filing. And I think I got to do copies. So, because it may have to go by entity situation, and I got to look into that because you can file it online. So I went there to do that on top of looking for resources at the same time. I felt like that was the best place to do it while I try to remedy our situation. But it wasn't a case of we had just been roaming. But I knew that every code member that they can conjure up in the city of Redlands, bitch, was... I already knew that. Was going to show up and show out like they're, it's always under the guise of help. But here's what I want to say with this reading for the collective. Like I said, what are the TI supposed to do when their efforts to do all these things are thwarted? Because they make people seem like they're just some wanderer who don't want to talk to nobody or whatever. No, they're being thwarted. I attempted to contact several relatives. I'm going to say it for the record so none of them are off the hook. None of them. Several. With what I have. Now, because you got to keep in mind, I don't know, like when there's been a disconnect and a distance, even from the distant relative, the information I'll be up to date, phone numbers, things like that. So it's like I tried through social media. I did what I could to try to connect with certain ones that might not have had like, okay, this is happening. I made my way back, whoop to wooty woo, and you know, yes, I tried to call his aunt, one of his aunts, because the other, I I know for certain she's a part of the problem. So it's like, why do that? Okay, but I tried reaching out. I don't have the right number. I tried searching online. I tried my son's people, the ones I could find. So this leads the target to have to come up with their own conclusions, because essentially at some point it can't be everybody, like all the people. Nah, something starts to smell fishy, especially if you haven't done anything. Now, if we had done something too, that's a little different. But if you haven't, it starts to look fishy. It's designed to coercively put the target in the positions they want them in without looking like that's what they're doing. Case in point, they come pick me up. One of the cult leaders is a part of the people who actually came to pick me up. I didn't say all, I said one. Pay close attention. And just to simplify cult leader, because people get stuck on language, you can call it, if there is a group of people who has an agenda. That's all you need. They don't have to have on hoods and altars and stuff like that. It's a group of folks doing something with ill will and hidden dishonor, with an agenda based on fear and control and ignorance and presumption. And if a part of it is money, then it's money. Okay? So, do you see what I'm saying? They're following me and my son around. They knew I would run out of money at some point. So, just waiting for the opportunity, because they were thwarting me, tap dancing, searching for all of these so-called helpful resources that they hand out. I don't have a car. It's me and my son. Every move I make, we have to look at, listen, this ain't about breaking out the violin. This is about giving context. Okay? Every move I make is under scrutiny and surveillance. However, they're expecting me to jump through all these hoops and loops, to talk to all these programs who never are able to provide nothing that's remedying the real situation. Okay? It's like, and listen, I have to keep reiterating, this is not about ingratitude. It's about the real issue being remedied versus these pacifiers. I had an organization give me and my son a whole lot of stuff. New stuff, good stuff. I'm talking toiletries, paper towel, tissue, food, snacks, clothes, shoes, jackets. And some of you all will be like, wow, that's, y'all be doing the toilet jump. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. And that's amazing. And it is, but that's just a byproduct. The reason why even that was needed is a byproduct of us needing to uproot our lives to begin with. The real issue, as I have been communicative about with everyone I ever come in contact with, because what is somebody that's homeless or recently newly homeless without a car supposed to be doing with stacks of tissue and toilet paper and boxes of clothes? It's also another attempt to give something to the target and have them lose something. They keep trying to create trauma. This is an open and closed case. This, you ain't even gotta be Sherlock. This is some simple dimple nigga bitch. You know, you could be retarded and still see the writing on it. I'm just saying, this is an open and closed case. So what is the target? It's supposed to keep them dysregulated. This breadcrumbing, this we're helping you, and you're spending hours talking, expressing, calling, doing all. And listen, and I'm gonna say this for the record: if somebody want to help you, they can help you. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna just drop. Where's my mic? Mic drop. I'm done. I'm done. You know why I know that? Where I've learned this, I learned it slowly. Please keep this in mind. This does not apply to everybody. There are some good folk, and I'm aware. So if you're a good folk, you happen to hear this and stuff, and your heart is good and stuff, and you really, I promise you, I don't mean this for you. Okay? Because not everybody fucked up, but a whole lot of people are. Okay? So, case in point, industries that can, you know what I'm saying? They picked us up. They could have put me and my son in a motel room. I know they could have. I don't care what nobody say. I know they could have. But see, here is how that goes. It's if they want to. Period. The end. It's bureaucracy. It's picking and choosing who they want to extend and expend, you know, even when budget, because, you know, technically you do have situations where budgets and stuff like that. But I've also learned that I've seen entities still manage to pull rabbits out of, you know, so that tells me they can. They did not have to come and do, you know, put search and find and make it look like it's, you know, do. They could have easily said, okay, well, let's get them set up in the room for a week, because it was in a different, it was under the city of Redlands versus, you know, San Bernardino. So they could have very well done that, because it ain't like we was just somebody that they didn't seen roaming under the freeway about a week, and, you know, it's like, okay, we don't, you see what I'm saying, how they're trying to create, because I'm telling you, this was a whole circus, this was an orchestra, and the Academy Award, nigga, should go to all these sons of bitches. The Academy Award for their orchestration of trolling my life, waiting for me to run out of money. They deserve an Academy Award, and then coming in like Captain Save-A-Ho. At the last minute, though, so all the people can get pictures and do whatever other weird nigga bitch shit they was doing that day. But they was doing a lot of it. What is the TI supposed to do when their effort is thwarted? So, because everybody want to interrogate them. Any and everybody that they ever reach out to, at least the ones that would actually talk to them, because others, some of them have their own issues and they don't talk because they're caught up in their own conditioning and programming and fuckery. And then, like I said, others are told a lie. They're shown video footage. I think I reposted somebody's video. If I haven't, I'll probably will upload it a little bit later, where it's just so happened somebody was there to record. It was something manufactured. Harass, torture, terrorize the person. And then when you see them upset, video recorded so that you can go tell the people, you know what I'm saying? That kind of vibe. But ain't nobody smart enough to ask the questions. Nobody, apparently. Ain't nobody smart enough to ask the questions. How's it just so happen that this nigga was over here every time? It's almost seeming a little bit too convenient. Is there something else going on? What are they doing to this person? So anyway, they're going around trying to claim I'm crazy or whatever, crazy, toxic. Who knows what they conjuring out their asses and convincing people. And I have to add this as a factor. I don't really want to. I got the cards, some of the cards out here. We'll get into that. I don't want to say this, but I have to. Because again, this is I can't speak of other countries that I'm not from, okay? I'm not in other countries. So I don't have a point of reference, and I don't have any real jurisdiction. You see what I'm saying? I'm not from another country. I don't know their things. I didn't grow up in. So I can't talk too much on it. In the US, we're, our lives are, our whole little thing, the evolution of time as we know it, as we reference it, as we believe, I'll say it that way, is supposed to be an honor to all nations, which encompasses one's culture, it encompasses one's systems of beliefs, it encompasses all of the things. So what happens to populations? I'm going to get into vulnerable populations, targeted populations, homeless people. They're not to be, is honor and dignity something maybe flushed down the toilet if, I'm just throwing this out there for fun, because what if that person, let's say the person is traumatized, seriously, let's say they are. Let's say that we can't pretend, we can't put our head up our ass. Let's say they are. Let's say they've been violated by authority. See, people too lazy to care. It's too inconvenient. It's too messy. What if they've been violated by authority? What if they've been violated by church people? Nobody wants to talk about that. The reason I talk about it is because all these programs that's supposed to be designed to help the vulnerable population, that needs to be highlighted, bold, italics, underscore, underline for the English majors out there. That, because that's a part of the assistance to them. Can they receive honor and dignity and respect and the same manner of excellence and diligence and care if they don't want your religion? At least for the time being. See, this is why I'm saying I believe, and I'm not accusing anybody. I hate that I have to say all of this. I do. But I do. I got to say it because people hear something and then they jump. They'll just jump. I'm talking overall. This is what I've experienced as well as many others like myself in these kinds of situations. I used to be a part of, some of y'all may not know that, but this has been many, many moons ago. I served I've served in ministries in church like full throttle. Like if I'm saved and I'm a Christian stuff, then I was the real kind version. Okay, I wasn't the ones that never you can never see them at church even if you paid them to have them. Like I was that bitch. Heart baby, heart, full throttle, all in, because I'm an all in or nothing kind of motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So I was all in, but it was hard. It wasn't the tap dancing performance. Like, for me, I can just say for me, it was hard. And it was my desire to help and to serve because, blah, 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 blah. So we had back then, there was several just aspects of what we offered back then, but it was one of the branches of what we offered for women, and it was catering to, like, it was a certain area. I remember that, um, and it was every week, and it was like set up where they we would come, and the praise team, like, it was a whole little setup. It was like mini church, but it wasn't church kind of vibe. So we had tables, we had food, we had they can get groceries. Oh man, I'm sorry, y'all. It's been a long time, but I think they could get groceries at the end. Like, we fed them like hot, like a meal. Um, while we ministered, that's what we called it back then. While we ministered, so we would sing. Um, there would be maybe somebody that had a word or a testimony or something like that, and then of course there was the prayer part. If they saw, if the person wanted to come to the altar or whatever. Um, why am I bringing this up? What does it have to do with anything here? It has a lot to do with it because the particular population that we were tending to was a lot of homeless people, and more than homeless, it was in some cases, because often the homelessness is paired with some kind of a substance thing. No, usually, okay, it's paired with some kind of a substance um, thing. And then it's paired with, in some cases, some serious mental. I can't even say if it's always a proper diagnosis, because it's like, good grief, when you find certain things out, you know? It's like, so they torture the motherfuckers and they crazy. Let me see how they act. Come here, let me put you outside with your together self. Come here. That's a part of what I want. Oof. Uh oh. That's a part of what I be low key wanting to say, because I've learned it over time. It's like, it's real easy to do when you got all these cushions. It's like, okay, come here, then come here, then come here, just come here. Let me strip that from you for a little bit, and then let me see how you talk. Let me see if you're tidy and neat and clean and smelling good. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see if you're coherent and happy and all those things. Again, this is real easy to do in theory. It's a whole nother ball game. But to claim that the person, that's the problem I have with system a little bit. Because if we were to take some of them, if we were to take some of them and put them in some situation for 1 week, just one, doing half of the shit that's been done to some of us, they are being chains, locked up, just barking at the padded walls somewhere. See that? But I got off topic. That was the population. I loved it. I loved it. Helping. It's hard. But are they honored? See, I held that in my heart even then. Not everybody do. I didn't look at myself as better. I didn't, the air about me wasn't like that. I didn't secretly, I didn't secretly feel like, ooh, they're in trouble. This because they're, they bad for shame. Like, I wasn't going there. I also, when I say sensitivities, because we don't know. These all programs are supposed to be honoring. I'm trying to drive home something that's going to piss off some people, and then some people's going to be saying, yeah, somewhere. I'm all for programs, faith-based. I'm all for all those things. I'm not saying that these things should be anti those things. Somebody's going to take that to the left and to the wrong places. I'm not saying that either. I honor those things because, again, to me, it's about, if that's who you are, that's what you're comprised of, then it has potential to be a very beautiful thing. But can we honor? There's so many assumptions and presumptions about things and people that are different than us. I saw that coming up in ministry. And I've been a part of diverse ministries too, for some that may wonder, like, no, that ain't my story. I didn't just experience just a traditional black, I'm African American. So, like, okay, no, actually, from 2002, okay, the ministry I spent like 10 years, maybe 10, 12 years that I traveled with them and did, all sorts of retreats and conferences and all the stuff, okay? Um, Actually multicultural. Even though it was a smaller church, it was still multicultural. When we got in there, it was still like, you come there and you see all the colors, okay? And whoa. So from the beginning, it was that way for me. Then when I ended up going to another ministry, after the first, like, with the first 10 years, I got to like a bigger church. Like, it was like bigger, and they were definitely multicultural. I definitely, was doing ministry with all walks of life and things like that. So where am I going with all of that? Well, it's nothing wrong with coming together and having that. It can be beautiful. But when it comes to program-based, government funded and supported, and when you're talking about reaching past your congregation or your faith even, without projecting onto these people, can we provide them the same? What if they've been traumatized? What if every authority and leader that they have had and have trusted and have shown themselves open and vulnerable to turns out to betray them? And so now by the time they get to you, you're the fourth face they've seen, singing them the pipe dream and projecting, and then trying to tell, you see what I'm saying? It's service first. That's why it's important for us to be self-reflective people, especially if we're a leader. We have to be. I don't care what kind of leader is. Your own leader, the leader. If we got a business, we are a boss, we are a supervisor, we're a manager, we are, we have to be self-reflective, and people who are um, self-aware, self-reflective, and constantly addressing our own stuff, because it's service first. It's not, when we're tending to the population, it ain't about our emotions. Not in that way. In our personal lives, yeah, and we get help and assistance for that. You see where I'm going? But when we're in these positions, when we're leaders, when we're bosses, we're supervisors, and we're in the helps industry, and stuff like that, it's service. It ain't about you. It ain't about me. It ain't about us. It ain't about our feelings. It can't be. Because if we want to deal with traumatized populations, then we need to know what we're dealing with. I mean, even in service. Think about it, you guys. Let's say, let's play with this example. I'm going to take spirituality and religion out of it, because just to be fair, because I don't want it to seem like it's just that. There's a whole lot of biases and prejudices that has nothing to do with religion or spirituality. Okay? Let's say I was a therapist. Let's say I was an actual licensed clinician. Let's say I was a therapist. Okay, play with it. Let's say I went to school, I got all the certifications, I got all of the continued education, and let's say I have a practice. Okay, so let's pretend I'm a therapist. Let's say I've been in the practice as a therapist. Let's say I've been in the practice. Let's keep me relatively fresh, green behind the gills. Let's say I've been in the game 2 years, 3 years. That's still some experience. So I went to school. I did my internship. I did my externship. I got a practice going. I've been in the biz for about 2 years. And let's say I get, my population, I tend to, my specialty is women dealing with low self-esteem, poor life skills, or it's just, I'm just throwing some shit out there, whatever. Okay. And that's what I'm supposed to be, that's my thing. And I do well. I love what I do, and I got clients who love me and love what I do, and I'm starting to really get a good reputation, or I'm starting to build clientele, and I'm starting to get blah blah blah. But let's say for whatever reason, one day I do get a client. I get a client, and even though I'm used to dealing with the population for the 1 or 2 years, this particular client, maybe this client presents something for me that I haven't really looked at or dealt with in myself. Maybe this client comes in and they have a different religion than me or something. And so I automatically, as a therapist, I don't know that I'm doing that, but let's say I kind of start, feeling some kind of way, looking at them some kind of way, because they express, or they don't have the same faith, and then my whole little therapeutic relationship with the person is already is almost tainted because of it. Because now my framework is different, I'm looking at them different, and the only reason why it's happening is because I haven't been self-reflective enough to see where my own partialities, biases could color how I deal with those who come into my practice. The person that's coming in for the therapy, that's what they're coming in for. I'm the therapist. So it's not even about me. I'm supposed to be dealing with my things in another way. So my emotions and bents and feelings and opinions and lifestyles and like all those things, If the person, let's say the client comes in, let's say they act out. I mean, not to say, let's just say they're closed off, or let's say they're closed off. The therapist, that can't, there's no space for the therapist to take that personal and to start kind of passive aggressively mistreating that client. In other cases, again, I'm gonna have to end this video because I got off. I mean, this all goes together on what's happening with me and my son, as well as, many others. Okay. Our efforts are constantly thwarted by lies, by narratives, by stories, by prejudices of all sorts, by agendas, and then people taking advantage of our unfortunate situations that in some cases were created. Let's say a client comes in, this is classic to happen, you know, and let's say the woman is particularly beautiful. Let's say she comes into my office and she's in need of help. She's struggling, but let's say she's pretty, or I think she is. Okay, let's say she's pretty. Let's say, or she's got a big personality, or let's say she something. And if I'm struggling in that area, and I'm not facing it, I might passive aggressively and subconsciously then need to pick her the hell apart instead of helping her. I may sit there and my critical eye will be on 12 status, because I'm feeling some kind of way. Some things about myself that I'm not looking at is surfacing. Whether it is I think she's more attractive, or I deal with anything to do with my appearance. Whether it is I think she's smart and intelligent, or something like that, and that's something I struggle with. Whatever it is, if I'm not dealing with that about myself, when I get a client, I'm going to be activated. I'm going to get into competition with my own freaking client. I'm going to get into comparison when it should have never been about me in the first place. The therapeutic relationship and dynamic is about the one that's coming in for service. The therapist is supposed to be finding other mediums and outlets to deal with their stuff so that they're not bleeding on their clients or doing counter transference, onto their clients and stuff like that, because of the biases and the things. And the only reason why I'm sharing it in this discussion is how it goes together with the type of injustices and unfair things that's kind of cleverly hidden on, we don't have any more funding. But then you go around to all these other people, you hear all these other people, and you see even other people getting, it's like, okay, what's going on? Or, like I said, musical resources, having you go through, look at this. There's a cat that's here. I think Osiris wants me to play with him. But he is an outside cat, so I can't. Osiris will kill me. Oh, it's pretty. Him pretty. Oh, yes, amazing. But him need to go to the vet because him an outside cat. Yes, him is. Do I hear my son? Let me go check on him. Okay. So, goodness gracious. This goes together. There are people trolling around the lives of folks like me and my son, And it sounds berserko. It sounds nutso. And it's designed to. It is. But at the end of the day, what is the person supposed to do when they're doing all the things? Is the bottom line. When they're reaching out to people, when they're utilizing resources, and because we don't need to be cheered about that, we need results. And when these things are intentionally, not everything is process, not everything is chance. That's what I'm putting out there. Because again, their lives are under constant scrutiny and everybody's got an opinion, and people who are not dealing with those things are the ones with the most opinions. People who got, they ain't homeless. They sitting up on they on fat cats. Okay? For an example, I'm gonna be uploading a video on some supplements. Random. I'm doing random shit. Why? Because there's so many judgments and presumptions about a whole lot because of narratives that they want to create. We ain't been on the streets. We left the motel room and went to the library. That's vastly different. And it's not even a judgment on that, because I mean, those are the situations that they're trying to create for folks like my son and me. If they can't control the shit the way they want to control the shit. But you see that? We just didn't have nowhere to put our stuff. We didn't have no money, you know. And I'm learning all sorts of stuff with this whole situation. It's like, oh, noted. Moving forward, you know, Because again, at first, when you're believing in all these systems and all these programs, you know, the kindnesses that get extended to you, you want to, because of the kindness and the generosity, you want to believe that they have follow through. Case in point, I don't have a car. And some of the stuff, you know, especially when they manufacture you to be in an area that's not within easy, you know, because some areas you can be placed, like when we were at the Heritage Inn, and then there's like some places you got stuff all around you, like hop, skip, and a jump. Okay. But when that's not the case, and then knowing full well that this person needs to, there's some other paper and administrative type stuff that needs to get done, and you just drop them, that's not responsible. Because if they had it like that, then them motherfuckers wouldn't have been coming to pick them up in the first place. Wouldn't have been coming to pick them up anywhere if they had somebody that they could call for a ride. Then to make it look like, again, all of this stuff is to first just kind of restrict the person's movement, but then to make them look like they're not doing the things that needs to get done. And then the moment you turn your back, if folks can help, they know you need a ride, people can, you know, folks in position, they can get you a ride, and they can do so creatively too. There's always creative ways for folks that are, you see what I'm saying, in these kinds of odd type dynamics and situations. There are creative ways, just like they creatively sometimes come out with somebody where you can lay your head. They creatively come out in situations where, you know, you can get funding when there was none. Likewise, in these situations, that's requiring a lot more, things to do other than just calling, looking for a program. It's like, okay, we need to get them at the Social Security, and they need to get there, they need to apply for this. Okay, we need to get that done. Now, we need to take care of the, because all these things matter. This is a part of all of it. Let's see if we can get them storage. Somebody may end up writing a program like that out there. I wouldn't be surprised. It's like, okay, let's not be sitting in our cars driving up and down the street talking about people that we see. Let's see if we can not just pick them up and take them random places that they may or may not be comfortable. I mean, these things to me should be considered. And that the other people may or may not be. You see what I'm saying? Taking people places where the people might not be comfortable with them because of whatever. Let's see how we can get their stuff stored. They could have even done that. Could we get them a used storage? Talking about it's like they know the person ain't got no money. This is how you start figuring out motherfuckers ain't on that. And they take advantage of when these moments occur for, especially if the person got children or a childlike, or whatever you want to call it. They could have remedied in a whole nother way. First and foremost, they could have not sit up there and waited all damn day. They could have sent somebody. They could have tried to say, hey, because ain't like you got much, but they could have coughed up the dough to pick the stuff up and go put it into storage, and then say, okay, you got your stuff off the street, let's see how we can help you. Let's see how we can help you. Not try to strip them of their dignity further. You see what I'm saying? That's why I'm looking side-eyed at a whole lot of stuff. It's like you're not supposed to be trying to make it more uncomfortable for these people. You're supposed to be trying to show that you care beyond just, okay, well, at least we pick you up. Okay, that's the problem. That's a snooty, arrogant, pretentious attitude. They're still a human being with feelings and emotions that have gone through something. If people want to help, they will help. Another thing that I'm starting to note is like this is why some people go on deconstruction, because somebody reaches out to you in need. Sometimes you're the answer. You are the answer. And it seems to be hard for a lot, not all, because I do run into some folks who can get in the moment, but it seems to be hard for a lot of folks. I got to end this. I'm going to refresh because we're already at 54 and I wasn't prepared for that. I got to cleanse, refresh, go check on my son. So I'm going to have to get into the read because I didn't even get to, because I got the cards out. I didn't get to add layers. So I'll probably have to, because I don't know where I'm going to be. I'm putting this out here. but I don't even know how far this is going. I've tried reaching out to people. I'm finding out more and more as I go about like the possibilities of who else could have been involved in terms of like folks of my past and stuff like that. But this torture program stuff, this trying to keep me and my son in fight, flight, freeze, and survival is this is vomit worthy. It should make healthy, normal, loving humans sick to their stomach. Getting off on someone's struggle is indicative of something not right somewhere. Especially a disabled. Making money off of it should be making people vomit too. Making money off of causing difficulties to stress somebody out is not something to hold your head up high. It's not something to be proud of. And for those who claim to be a Christian, yeah, it's certainly not something that you want to give a testimony about.